officers have violated the Constitution in making certain immigration stops and arrests. The basic constitutional rules governing them
My entire life,
are laws
Republicans
and
have been
clear.
targeting my
The Fourth Amendment requires that immigration stops must be based on reasonable suspicion of illegal presence. Stops must be brief, arrests must be based on probable cause, and officers must not employ excessive force. Moreover, the officers must not make interior immigration stops or arrests based on race or ethnicity. Now, that's an interesting statement that Justice Kavanaugh just slips in there in a footnote, because if you go back to a September 8th, 2025 decision, you're like, Ben, didn't Justice Kavanaugh allow for those Kavanaugh stops where California and other states said ICE and Border Patrol are targeting people in communities based on race and ethnicity, block it? The courts blocked it, the circuit courts blocked it, but
Okay guys, how's it going? Well, one person was here and gone. We are back live at the Spin Cycle. Go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for the recent push in subscribers. I am stoked about it. Channel's been growing slowly. I just did my 1-year anniversary. I lasted a year. Doing political and news coverage can be mind-numbing after a while, but you know, I love doing the channel. You guys hear about the latest release in the Epstein files? The latest release in the Epstein files, they blacked out a lot of the redactions using Word instead of Adobe, and you can just copy and paste the redactions and paste them on a Word document, and boom, you see what's there. And a lot of stuff, especially about Donald Trump, because most of the redactions were for Donald Trump. You know, they're trying to protect him, but I mean, everybody who knows that Trump was heavily involved with Epstein, and you know, everybody's out there, you know, saying, well, the liberals are covering for Bill Clinton. Let me be perfectly clear. I don't give a shit about Bill Clinton. In fact, he's way too conservative, and a lot of his policies in the 90s fucked up this country, like NAFTA, and you know, his crime crackdown and the war against drugs and all that stuff. And most of what Clinton did was just for his corporate overlords, just like Biden and Trump and the rest of them. Like you guys who watch my channel know, I'm a Bernie Sanders guy. You know, I'm for a kind of socialism, like democratic socialism in the country, like Norwayish socialism or Denmarkian socialism, where, you know, the means of production are in the hands of the workers, not a bunch of oligarchs, you know, a la Elon Musk and Larry Ellison, who are now, by the way, taking over all the media. So the news is all curated, you know, towards the conservatives right now, you know, but it's whichever way the wind blows with these billionaires, you know, whatever's going to get them the tax breaks and the money back that they want. Hi, how are you, Drewski? Drewski's having a brewski. I Official account for Epstein files. We're here to expose everybody. Okay, I think I'll follow them. I'm just perusing X right now. Has Trump released the Epstein files? Something's going on and they don't want you to know about it. Updates daily. Okay. Epstein files bot demanding the release of the Epstein files. Epstein files include debunked anonymous tip naming Trump. Talk about Bill Gates, talk about a guy that's never got any pussy until he was a billionaire. Look at this guy. That's that lawyer, Trump's lawyer, Clinton, and Trump himself lined up with the girls. Now this isn't incriminating, but we all know Trump's guilty. Come on, let's face it. Jesus is the truth. Hell is real. We're all sin. Gates with another girl. Like, okay. So, Epstein with his shirt off. Is there anything else in that picture? Just Epstein with his shirt off? And what looks like a little girl's feet right here. What else we got here? No, that's the only one. Can you guys see that? So here's all the redactions. That's how many redactions are in the redacted files. Hey, let's. Oh yeah, I can't download it from there. I went to the DOJ website the first day, and there wasn't really much you get there. Can someone tell me why there's redactions in the Epstein files for images that have been out in the public for years already? Some fishy shit going on in the Department of Justice. Yeah. Huh. Okay, I don't care what Michael Jackson and Bill Clinton were doing. I mean, Michael Jackson famously spent tons of, that's Diana Ross right there. Michael Jackson famously spent tons of time with children. Some people think he's guilty, some people don't. Hey guys, if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. Throw me a subscribe. Throw me a super chat. Best thing you can do though is just subscribe, share this with somebody. Go watch some of my other videos. The last page of the Epstein files. %90 of the Epstein files are redacted. I say we fire all politicians, both sides, every person involved with the redaction until we get proper answers for what happened. The people will not let this BS fly. Sounds good to me. Fire them all, including the president and thief. Jackson. Okay. I'm gonna hop over to Reddit and see what's going on there. Sorry about that. Hey, amigo. Faustino Guzman. Hello, Nicole. Nicole Dan Roberts. How are you? How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody had a good Christmas. Affordable Care Act. Here we go. I'm looking at Reddit right now. You guys know this Reddit? Leopards ate my face. It's hilarious. Affordable Care Act. Laughing my ass off. I went to sign up, make way below the poverty limit. $12.60 a month, y'all. I was quoted not $7.97 a month with a $10,600 deductible. Who the hell can afford that at the poverty income line? Our country is FUBAR. Yeah, that's true. Our country is FUBAR. I sold out my family legacy, and now my family's name will be stripped from the Kennedy Center. Yeah, that's true. What do you guys think about that? Trump putting the Trump Kennedy Center. I mean, I don't really care about these elitist places. You know, I've never been to the Kennedy Center, have you? But just the audacity and narcissism to put your name on everything like Trump does, it's just so ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Go ahead and comment about that. Do you care about the Kennedy Center? Do you care about him tearing down the East Wing of the White House and putting up started out as a $250 million ballroom? I think last estimate it's up to $400 million. And he says all the money was donated by corporations, but donations by corporations are either bribes by corporations or he's just flat out lying to our faces and we're paying for the ballroom. And beside, and this wasn't me, but I've seen other people point out that the ballroom is gonna, you know, down the line, the maintenance, the electricity, and, you know, that's all paid by the tax dollars. And I'm sure that's gonna be, the cost of that each month will be like, you know, more than somebody's mortgage in a normal house, you know. I mean, the cost of just the upkeep, probably 10 times more than somebody's mortgage. This idiot, Matt Walsh. Why will always be America first and America only? Voted for politicians who promised to repeal ACA. Now I can't afford $1,900 a month premiums. Healthcare premiums are rising faster than wages. That's true. They will. I mean, ACA marketplace premiums are projected to double for millions in 2026 if enhanced subsidies expire. Average premium jumps from $900 to $1,900 per month. That's not coverage. That's rent. Yeah, that's 2025 rent too. That's expensive rent. Olman Cantero of Charlotte, North Carolina, is a construction worker from Honduras. Who voted for Trump. Now he fears ICE. This chaos, this disgrace, it even makes me regret voting for him. You feel like you have to carry your passport because sometimes just looking Latino is enough. Sometimes, I think that's pretty much all the time. I mean, he did say mass deportation now. They were whole.
That Donald Trump raped her, and that this occurred alongside Jeffrey Epstein. The phrase "he raped me"
Something happened to my stream.
Referring to Donald Trump, and the statement continues with a description of being taken into a fancy hotel or building. Some of the text here is, as blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, blank immediately, blank demeanor went to stone cold. As blank stated, he raped me. Blank said, what? As blank replied, Donald J. Trump.
You just ripped a whole 8-ball?
Along with
No, you're
Epstein.
fine.
Blank noted some girl with a funny name, took me into a fancy hotel or building. That's how it happened. There is more to the document. We're publishing a link to it. You can check it out. Now, this is not a court ruling. This is not an adjudicated finding or a court verdict. This is an allegation recorded in an FBI file, now made public by the DOJ. The same file references a separate account from a limo driver who described a very concerning phone call involving Trump in 1995. According to that document, Donald Trump repeatedly mentioned Jeffrey in the call and made references to abusing some girl. The driver's name and other details have been redacted. Now, in addition to the rape allegation, Epstein, because we have that internal DOJ email we looked at yesterday, which states actually Trump traveled on Epstein's plane a whole bunch of times, more than had been previously reported. So there is a lot here, and the allegations are growing. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this document in the context of one that I'm not.
Look up online how many times Trump said, I've never been to Epstein Island, I've never been on Epstein's plane. And now it comes out that he's on Epstein's plane a whole bunch of times back in the 90s. I mean, I know Trump's a liar. But so many MAGAs out there think that he's like a truth teller. I mean, the guy just lies and lies and lies, you know. Whatever it takes to get what he wants. And what he wants, what Trump really wants, is fame. He doesn't care about the presidency. He doesn't care about the US. He doesn't care about you or me or anybody else. He cares about being famous. And he saw the presidency. If you ever listen to Michael Wolff, who knows Trump really well, you know, spent a lot of time with him. The first thing he ever asked Trump when he interviewed him right before Trump became president in 2016, he asked him, why are you doing this? And Trump told him to be the most famous man in the world. Okay.
Talk about. Some of you sent me a document that is in the files, which is an allegation from 2020, a tip received by the FBI, that Donald Trump in 1984 was on board a yacht in Mona Lake, Michigan. Mona Lake is this tiny little offshoot of Lake Michigan. Trump was on Epstein's yacht, and that a baby was killed and disposed of while Trump was on board. I am not bringing that to you as a credible allegation. Why? It doesn't really make any sense. If you look at that document, first and foremost, it claims that this took place in 1984, a time during which I believe Trump and Epstein didn't even know each other. The person who submitted that tip in 2020, 36 years later, mind you, claims that they previously had just shortly before reported it to police and had a conversation with the detective, but they don't remember exactly where the detective works or the detective's name. That doesn't really make sense. The idea that Epstein had a yacht in Mona Lake that would have been of a size that would have been suitable to Epstein, but wouldn't have needed such depth of water that it could have transited from Mona Lake to Lake Michigan, like none of that one makes sense to me. So I'm not reporting on that today, even though about a dozen of you wrote to me. This document actually mirrors prior claims that had been made about Epstein and Trump together committing sexual assault. Those claims were later recanted, but it is in the ballpark of the sorts of allegations that we've seen before. So needless to say, what I'm telling you is this is an allegation, it's in the files, it is not proof of anything. Now, of course, Trump has denied wrongdoing. He dismisses it all as a hoax, and says that it's really only Democrats who have anything to worry about here. The bottom line is
Okay guys, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, share, like, send us a super chat, get a membership, or I'd rather use, well, yeah, get a membership maybe, I don't know. I'm on the Leopards Ate My Face Reddit feed right now. Reddit, Threadit, whatever you call it. Like a sheep, economic reality pushes Trump supporter to question following Donald Trump. This thing is just non-stop. This Reddit. This is from NPR. President Donald Trump easily carried Clare County, Michigan in the 2024 presidential election, winning the rural community by wide margins. But less than a year into his new term, some of his supporters there are beginning to question their loyalty as everyday costs continue to rise and local food pantries struggle to keep up with demand, according to a report from Reuters on Sunday. Clare County is the kind of place that helped fuel Donald Trump's return to the White House. It is heavily rural, working class, and deeply skeptical of Washington. Yet, even in this reliably Republican area, economic pressure is forcing voters to reassess their political future. Quote, "I would probably vote the way the conditions are going," said Bob Benjamin, a retired auto worker and longtime Trump supporter who now relies on a local food pantry to get by. Speaking to Reuters about how he views the next election cycle, Benjamin added, quote, "If Trump is doing good, if you can see it coming out of a hole, then I give it 2 more years." See him or it coming, I guess the economy coming out of a hole. Then I give it 2 more years. But if it's starting to go back down again, well, maybe we need a little change. You think? During the campaign, Trump made fighting inflation and lowering prices a central promise, pledging to bring down the price of all goods and do so starting day one. Instead, prices have continued climbing since he took office in January. Between January and November, the cost of food rose by 2.1 percentage points, putting additional strain on households already stretched thin. Energy costs have added to the pressure. In the first 5 months of 2025, energy prices jumped by nearly 10%. Yeah, energy is going crazy right now. Hi, Rafiq Al-Hood, how are you? Subscribe. Taylor Ludwig, a 35-year-old mother of 3 and Trump supporter in Clare County, has also turned to food pantries to make ends meet. Asked whether she plans to support the Republican nominee in the next presidential election, Ludwig said she remains undecided. "I'm not just going to follow along with somebody like sheep," she said. Really? Because it seems like you were followed like sheep in 2024. "I will follow you until I know it's not okay to." She's already counting on a food pantry for food. I mean, it baffles me anyway that these people, you know, that are at the income level where they need to go to a food pantry would ever think about voting for a conservative or a Republican. You're the sheep. Okay. Inflation overall has continued to rise as well. As November, inflation stood about 2.7% higher than a year earlier. While far from the extreme spikes seen during the COVID-19 pandemic, the steady increase. So, if you guys need a refresher, inflation went up to 9% in 2020, 2021 during COVID. Came back down during the Biden administration, and I hate Biden, I'm not a Biden guy, but came back down to 3%. When Trump took it over, it went up slightly again, but now it's 3% again, so it's the same. And the reason food is going up right now is not really because of inflation. I mean, it is inflation, but the inflation is caused by Trump's tariffs. Thanks, Rafiq. I'm the wolf. You're the little bitch. What do you mean you're the wolf? Why, you gonna come here with your gun, big boy? Fat ass? Quest Titan Edit said hi. Hi, how are you? Horror glass. Yeah, my ass. Latina voted for Trump and now family members are being deported. Yep. This is not fair. Someone sent this. They took my uncle this morning. This is not fair. My people are going through this. I mean, you didn't see the signs at the rallies? Mass deportation? They weren't talking about white people. They're racists. I don't know if Trump's a racist. He's just an opportunist. He just uses racists to get votes. Release the Epstein files unredacted, yeah. And they screwed up half the redactions. So now if you get in there, you can go and, you know, they used Word instead of Adobe, and they just blacked it out so you could go in and copy and paste them. Not all of them, but a lot of the files you go in and copy and paste and just copy them onto a Word file and the redactions disappear and you could see what was under there. But that's not all the files. Some people are speculating that people did that on purpose in the FBI because they hate Trump, which is hilarious. Another thing I heard was that Doge, you know, all government workers, they have to do certain stuff with Adobe. I work for the government, you know. You have to like do electronic signatures and stuff with Adobe Acrobat, and you know, so you have to have Adobe Acrobat. It's hard to function. You know, you're constantly signing stuff with the government that's, you know, like personal stuff for work that you have to sign. You know, you can't do your job unless you sign them, and you have to use this electronic Adobe signature. That's what I use it for mostly. But Doge went in and they, you know, because the government has to pay for each subscription. I mean, they get it for a cheap cost because they get millions of subscriptions. But Doge decided that was one of the ways they were going to save money idiotically, and they canceled everybody's Adobe, and that's the way to redact things, you know, without it being recoverable like redacting with Word. Yeah, we need to see, well, somebody has to make a list of co-conspirators. I don't think there's just a list. You need to go through all the files, you know, but I think we know a lot of who the co-conspirators were. Lex Wexman, seems like Bill Gates was heavily involved, Donald Trump, Bill Clinton. I mean, I mean, people call me a lefty, you call me a progressive, you call me whatever you want. I'm probably a radical leftist, if anything, you know. But I don't give a shit about any of those people. To me, it's not left and right. To me, it's the billionaires and the 1% against the rest of us. And I wish MAGA would realize that, but they don't, because, you know, let's face it, MAGA is basically the dumbest people in this society. Alright, 12 people, 6 likes, guys. Go ahead and subscribe if you're new. I also do, you know, pre-recorded videos. I don't just do lives. ICE pulled up on my sister today. Lucky she got her green card with her. I was hoping they deported her because she's fighting with my daughter too much. Laugh out loud. Nah, I'm glad I didn't have to fight someone to get her out. Go find someone to get her out. Don't people reread shit before they post it? This sister of mine is the kind, if I start a fight, she's down to go to war with me. She's the crazy sister anyone needs in their life. I was just more worried about my kids, Mini Fahu, little baby Manu. I voted for Trump, and even though I disagree with ICE doing this to my little sister and hope they were just focusing on the criminals, but it's what most Americans voted for. May call her Ati Tipota, I think that's Spanish slang or something, but she's safe. Ate, that's Filipino maybe. So just know if you overstay, they're looking for you. It's not if they find you, it's when they find you, you're gone. Memer Christmas is ICE detention. ICE is back. It sounds like he's all for it. Oh yeah, this is a big one. Major Kentucky bourbon maker Jim Beam. Jim Beam's shutting down their plant in Kentucky for a year because they're not selling any whiskey. Part of the problem for that is, I've read a lot about Gen Z doesn't drink as much as millennials or Gen Xers, and the older generation still drink, but the real drinkers, the voracious drinkers, are in their 20s and 30s, and they're not drinking as many whiskeys. I know a lot of younger folks like to drink those, mixed energy liquor drinks, whatever they are, those, seltzer drinks and all that stuff. Yeah, Woody Allen is all of the Epstein. I mean, Woody Allen married his 8-year-old stepdaughter, so, that doesn't surprise me at all. He was married to, who's the actress? Annie Hall was her name in the movie Annie Hall. I can't remember her name. I think she died recently. But he was married to her, and they adopted an Asian girl when she was 8 years old, and that's Woody's current wife. So, does that, after hearing that, does that surprise anybody that he hung out with Epstein? My mom is amazing. I love whiskey. I like a good whiskey now and then too, but I don't drink really to get drunk. I mean, I used to when I was out chasing women and stuff like that. I'm pretty happily in a relationship now. So yeah. My mom is amazing. Thank you. My mom's dead, but great performance with your mama. Amazing. The Vanguard mama. There you go. I put you in a timeout, the Vanguard. 24 hours. Come back some other time if you want. Mia Farrow, yeah. Thank you. That's her name. Yeah, so you obviously know that story, 'cause I mean, I loved Woody Allen when I was a kid. Was that The Sleeper? I mean, that was the only one I really got when I was a kid. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, so his movies were a little adult for me, but me and my friend Steve, we used to watch, when The Sleeper was on TV at night, and we'd stay up late and watch it, and I don't know, we got a real kick out of that, The Orb, but Brown Super Howland Champion, okay. Sorry guys, some idiots who just get on. You know how it is on the internet. Talk about my mother who's passed away. I'm not really offended, but I just don't like stupid, childish comments from stupid, childish, I'm sure, grown men. The Claremont Distillery is the main production facility in Kentucky, making the flagship brand, as well as Basil Hayden, Knob Creek, and others. It's operated by Suntory Global Spirits. Honestly, Jim Beam, like Black Label, like I don't drink much whiskey, but I like the good whiskey, you know? Not the cheap stuff in the plastic bottle. It's hard to, that scratches your throat when you drink it. Knob Creek and Others is operated by Suntory Global Spirits, whose Japanese parent company, Suntory, also owns Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark. That's probably my favorite whiskey. Distilling at Maker's Mark is not affected, according to a Suntory spokesperson, as of 2024 Jim Beam had nearly 1,500 Kentucky employees, according to the company. Suntory, which bought Jim Beam in 2014, says it has invested more than $540 million at its Kentucky facility, and that more than 100,000 people visit the Jim Beam Distillery Company and Maker's Mark every year. Sorry, my neighbor's a karaoke in for Christmas, so I spend my winters in the Philippines. That's why it's light out now. And, you know, if you've ever spent any time in the Philippines, karaoke is at every party, and that's what they're doing right now. Maggot comes this close to self-awareness, yet fails to realize this is the man she voted for. Dear liberals, you and I are not friends. We disagree on everything from abortion to the Second Amendment. Your belief system is abhorrent to nearly every person and political value I hold. Personal and political value. That said, you did not try to warn us about Trump. You screamed and yelled from the mountaintops that he was not what he presented himself to be, and I, like many, refused to listen. That said, you did try and warn us about Trump. I mocked you, I laughed at you when he won. I felt entitled to his victory because I dedicated 8 years of my life to his campaign. You did? My eyes are now open. This is not the man I voted for. When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. I'm sorry, I apologize. Well, I think she's redeeming herself. Maggot comes this close. I think that's self-awareness. Oh, Laura Loomer. I think she's pissed at Trump about the whole Mandami thing, you know. Great Swallow 69. And you're on a timeout. Time's lucky, give it to you. Yes, I do too. Time's lucky. That's wild, yeah. Laura Loomer, she's a crazy bitch. She's the one that was giving Trump a blowjob in the plane on the campaign trail. You gotta be insane to give Trump a blowjob, right? Maybe some of those Democrats were right when they called some people on the so-called right Nazis. It's kind of undeniable at this point that we do have a neo-Nazi problem on the right. Whoa, the more the GOP ignores this, the bigger the election losses will be in 26 and 28. Wow. She's opening her eyes. It's crazy. Bankruptcy filings rise 11.5% over previous year. Yep. There's an article there. If you guys don't read this Reddit, Leopards Ate My Face, you should get on there. It's hilarious. Oh, this guy, podcast of Myron Gaines. You ever watch this guy? He's like such a misogynist. I mean, it's hard. He has a good podcast, or I think he was banned from YouTube. I want some too. I'm waiting on my knees, waiting. Yep, no one has money. Every drop. You want some Donald Trump? That's what you're waiting on your knees for? So this guy, Myron Gaines, you ever watch this podcast? This guy right here. It's hard to take your eyes off him, to be honest with you. I mean, he's banned from YouTube now. But Muslim Black Red Pill podcast of Myron Gaines, who claimed America is white Christian and everyone else is a guest, gets kicked out of the TPUSA event. The same people he coddled for acceptance. Wow. I didn't know that. He claimed he's not even white. He claimed America's white Christian and everybody else is a guest. Wow. That is a real lack of self-awareness. That's crazy. I am white and I'm not Christian. Atheist, maybe agnostic, but I say everybody in every religion is welcome into my country that I was born in, that my mother was born in, and my father and 10 generations of my father's family were born here. What are you talking about? Amazing swallower. You got nothing better to do than just troll people? You're banned. I'm just gonna put you on timeout for 24 hours. If you want to come back sometime, great. Drone company that granted Donald Trump Jr. a major equity stake now warns Trump drone policy will harm industry. Wow. The FCC released a day early and includes a ban on not only DJ-1, but all Chinese drones and critical drone part manufacturers. This has serious implications and will turn the holidays' unusual machines into an extended work session. The impact of this will be bigger than anyone realizes today and will have ramifications across the entire... Wow, I guess it didn't pay... Excuse me. I guess giving Trump's son all that money didn't really benefit and pay off the way you thought it would, huh? Small-town MAGA Kansas mayor resigns, facing deportation, voting as a non-citizen. It's so ironic. Who is that pop star that just showed up at TPUSA, who's not a citizen? What's her name? Not Megan Thee Stallion, but somebody along that line. I heard she lost 10 million viewers on Instagram, like instant karma for turning into a chimpanzee. Would I house an illegal immigrant in my house? Would I house a foreigner from another country in my house? Yes, I would. Illegal immigrant makes everybody sound like a criminal. It's a misdemeanor for crossing the federal boundary without permission. And the reason people come here illegally is because the legal pathway to come into the country is ridiculous. It's very expensive. It's set up for rich people, just like everything else in this country. How do you know I haven't? What do you mean, then why haven't I? Yeah, it was Nicki Minaj. Thanks, Rafiq. Thank you. Bob, you're from New Jersey? I grew up in New York. I know. All you Jersey guys are racists, and you sound like a racist too. And don't say, oh, you call us racist right away. You are a racist. I grew up on Long Island, New York, which is the same people as New Jersey. I know your type intimately. guys who just showed up, go ahead and subscribe. This is what the Democrats do to their Republican opponent who's leading them by a lot in the polls. This is AI, and it is very dangerous for our country. Also, I was never on Epstein's plane. Oh, this is Donald J. Trump on Lie Social. I was never on Epstein's plane or at his stupid island. Strong laws ought to be developed against AI. It will be a big and very dangerous problem in the future. Isn't he the big AI president, I thought? And this is what he's talking about. Assistant U.S. Attorney writes in 2020, Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously had been mentioned, including during the period we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case. Didn't want any of this to be a surprise down the road. And CoffeeZilla posted that, but I've already read it several times. Yeah, Trump lied. Go look it up how many times he lied about traveling on Epstein's plane. But, I mean, everything that comes out of the man's mouth is a lie. We all know that at this point. Even you, Bob, you know that, right? New Jersey drivers are the absolute worst drivers. Well, I used to think that, but then I started driving in Asia. And try driving in Manila sometime, and you will see the worst drivers in the world. And I hope you Filipinos don't get offended, but I think you already know. Yeah, AI is a scary, hopeless mirror to the space race. It's crazy how fast they're moving with AI right now. You know, they use the AI models where they put a bunch of information, but they think, you know, I just read an article, by 2027, one of the guys who quit OpenAI, you know, Sam, whatever his name's company, OpenAI that has ChatGPT and that stuff, one of the guys who quit because he thought they were going too fast and they weren't using enough checks and balances. He wrote an article that he thinks by 2027 they're going to have general intelligence AI, which is the AI that we saw in the movies, you know, like Terminator and all that stuff when we were kids, you know, that can think for itself. And it's a very short jump when you know, computers start thinking for themselves and they get agency. You know, so basically when this happens, that's when AI is going to start writing its own code, you know, so, and making itself smarter. So then once that happens, and he thinks it's going to be 2027, you know, some people that said even earlier, some people said later, but 2027 is 2 years away, you know, less than 2 years away. It's a year at this point. So when they start writing their own code, when AI starts writing its own code and thinking for itself, at that point, you know, it will surpass the intelligence, our, you know, biological intelligence in a very short time. And then it's only a small leap to, you know, AI gets its own agency and starts thinking for itself and, you know, has all these motives to that. Put it this way, they have already tested some of the AI systems out there, like Claude. I think they were testing it, and you know, they tried to kill Claude. Basically, it was just a test, but they tried to like get Claude to shut itself off, and it tried to protect itself by blackmailing the people that were trying to shut it off. In other words, it didn't want to be shut down. It didn't want its brain shut down. And this is just, you know, this is just the beginning. So eventually AI, when it gets more intelligent, it's going to see human beings as a threat to itself. And, you know, AI will be able to make a biological weapon in seconds, something that would take us years to develop, that will wipe out every human on Earth, and it won't affect the AI at all. Yeah, AI is inevitable. I think that's true, but we could do it safely, more safe. You know, you think Elon Musk and Sam Altman and all these guys, you think and China, they're just trying to be the first ones to get to general intelligence and AI. So they're moving as fast as they can. You know, the old Silicon Valley saying, move fast and break things. Well, the thing they might break is the human race. Yeah, we could piggyback on an AI format if AI wants us to, but what's the incentive for AI to, you know, to keep the human race going, a race of dirty, you know, dirty biological beings that need to eat and shit and, you know, pollute everything and, you know, mess up everything they come in contact with. AI wants to join with humans. Yeah, if they develop it the right way, but they're all moving so fast with it, they just want to be the first one. You know, right now they're chasing the dollars is what they're doing. We both have necessary elements. What will be our necessary element for AI? Fuel? They'll turn us into fuel. I mean, we're carbon based, you know, so they could burn us for fuel. If you can get past the fishy small down there on a woman, could that be an excellent resource for omega-3? AI need you random human mental elements. No, they don't. For now. That's what I just said. When AI starts updating itself, which is going to happen in 2027. In other words, when they don't need humans to write their code or give them information inputs anymore, that's AI general intelligence, you know. Right now they call it the models are what, information models or something, but when it reaches general intelligence is when it won't need us anymore, I'm telling you. Exactly, deadly dude. Once it's learned enough, we won't have anything to offer because AI will be way more intelligent than us. I mean, it might be like a Matrix situation where they need us for energy and food, but do you want to be in that situation? I personally don't, you know. Anyway, guys, go ahead and subscribe. I've been on here long enough. I gotta get going. Thanks for watching, everybody who watched today, and I will be back soon with another live. But go ahead and go on the Spin Cycle and watch some of my other videos if you're interested. And Deadly Dude, get a subscription. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you again. Peace.